Now back to high school sports talk on ESPN Radio 94.1. Presented by VirginiaPreps.com. Here's Matt Hatfield and Coach Ed Young.
Back here on ESPN Radio 94.1, joined by a special guest back in his old stomping grounds in the 757, four-time Pro Bowl quarterback out of Newport News, now a studio analyst for Fox Sports. You saw him dazzle at Warwick High School and Ferguson High School, then with the Virginia Tech Hokies in the NFL. The Atlanta Falcons took them on the doorstep of a Super Bowl, and now the new Michael Vick Teen Center in Newport News. And here to talk with us about it is Michael Vick on ESPN Radio 94.1. Michael, thank you for joining us. How's the spring going for you so far?
The spring has been good. Spring is always good. I love this time of the year.
Well, great.
Play a lot of golf.
Get to play a lot of golf. What you shooting out there on the links these days?
I played yesterday. I beat some of my rivals that I play with all the time. But yeah, I'm shooting like low 80s right now. Should be in the 70s pretty quickly.
Not too shabby.
The weather break. No doubt.
Yeah, well,
that's something I aim for.
I can see a Michael Vick golf classic in the future. But tell us how this all came about, the Michael Vick Teen Center at the Boys and Girls Club of the Peninsula, as well as what it means to you to team up with the Boys and Girls Club with this newly renovated teen center bearing your name.
Yeah, well, I went back to the Boys and Girls Club about 6 months ago, and, when you go back to your old neighborhood, or you go to a place where you grew up and you know people and you just want to check in and say hi. I just looked at the surroundings and felt like a lot of things needed to be done. I know it's upkeep over the years, but I felt like it could, use a new look and, just start putting some ideas together. I know, the way to keep kids coming in and out of the Boys and Girls Club is to continue to make it so that they want to come in and out and want to be there. The people are incredible, but I think it just needed a makeover. And, that's what I aimed for. That's what I set out to do. And now we got the Mike Vick Teen Center where, another place where kids can go in and hang out and learn and want to be a part of the Boys and Girls Club moving forward and want to be there when they might not have nowhere else to go. So it was important to me when I was young. It helped me. I benefit from it, and I'm really thankful that I was able to have an opportunity to give back and do that again.
Hey, Mike, Ed Young here. Congrats on the Teen Center with bearing your name now, and you've always been giving back. You've always done well every step of the way. High school, college, pro. You've been outstanding in what you've done, and coming back as a high school coach myself. It's when I see you guys coming back and helping out the youngsters, it's a tremendous thing to do. At this unveiling, a lot of youngsters there. Let me ask you, let's go back in time. Did you think of yourself coming up, growing up, high school, middle school, high school? What was that like to you in terms of watching those youngsters look at your dedication? Being in their shoes once, the Boys and Girls Club used to bring people who were successful in our community in this part of Virginia out. I remember Sweet Pea Whitaker coming by. I remember Bruce Smith coming, one Saturday. And, just the conversations they had with us, the way they talked about giving back and being role models if we ever got in their position. I never forgot about that. And to be on the other side and taking a different stance on it, just so grateful. And, I was very excited, but my family, my mom, my brother, my sisters, they was even more excited. And, so you never know what that role model definition would be. But, I've learned over the years what it takes. And, I'm doing it so that, when one of those kids who were out there yesterday, becomes successful in their own right, then they have the ambition down the road to give back and continue to help out in the community and help other people.
We're chatting with the Newport News native, 2010 NFL Comeback Player of the Year, and the former four-time Pro Bowl quarterback Michael Vick here on High School Sports Talk, presented by VirginiaPreps.com on ESPN Radio 94.1 about the unveiling of the newly renovated Teen Center at the Boys and Girls Club of the Peninsula. Michael now on television, as you see quite a bit on Fox Sports, analyzing football games. And Michael, what did you share with the young kids? Because nobody knows it better than you growing up as a teenager in Newport News, Virginia, that you can tell our listeners about?
Well, I told him yesterday, listen, everything for me started with a dream. And, the more I watched football growing up, the more I wanted to pursue that dream and play professional football. That was my profession. I wanted that to be my occupation. More so than anything, I had to reiterate, just have some type of dream, have a goal, something that you can work towards, because every day counts as far as getting to the final destination. And, you can't do it, not being accountable. You can't do it not, being respectful. You can't do it without the mentors and people around you. You need help. You're going to need people to lean on. So I wanted them to have a goal, have a focus, a purpose in life, and work towards it, because, it's a long journey, but that journey takes a lot of hard work in between. So share some of my experiences about working hard and sacrifices I made, and try to let them know that they're going to have to do the same thing at some point in their decision making.
Hey, Michael, you've been around. 4 teams in the NFL, played a high level. A lot of athletes have come out of this area, you being one of them, and probably a lot more coming.
Yeah.
In all your travels, we've had other guys come on here and talk about, as people say, oh, you're another one of them 757 guys. What makes this place unique with so many athletes in different pro sports?
I don't know. I think we all watch one another. We all try to emulate each other's game. So many guys who've made it, you can go on YouTube or you can Google highlights and you can see where they're from and the type of work that they put in over the years. And, that's just kind of what we breathe. We know football out here, and, you look at the players that's come out of here, you got to give more credit to the people who coached them and the people who brung them along, because it's not just us, being able to get up and, for me, going to play for the Boys and Girls Club and, getting to know my high school coach. I was introduced to these people by, my cousin Aaron Brooks. And so you got to give credit to the people who put the time and effort in for the kids too. So the coaches, the mentors, they deserve a lot of credit. But, we learn quick. We are very athletic, and we see how far we can go every time, you cut on the TV and you see one of us playing in the NFL and the NBA. We got game, and we're proud of that. We're proud to, go across the country and telling people where we're from, and everywhere we go, people acknowledge the talent that we put out over the years.
Michael, you mentioned mentors, high school coaches. You played for a character, a guy that we love on his show. He comes on, he's always dropping knowledge on us, and he speaks extremely highly of you. Give us some stuff about Tommy Raymond.
Oh, man, Coach Raymond's spirit is what makes him not only a great coach, but a great man. Over the years, he's learned patience. When he had me when I was young, he, took the time to develop me and, didn't rush it. It was like he could predict the future and things that was going to happen. I think his greatest quality is protecting his kids that come through his program. And, he always finds a way to, put them in school, find a college, that a kid may be able to attend. Might not have the grades, but he'll have a junior college that can be another alternative if they're not going to Division I schools. And he puts in the time and the effort to make sure that kids go to school, they get their education. If they don't go on and play in the NFL or the NFL, because that's not destined for everyone. Those percentages, but and he does it without wanting anything in return. And I think that's why he's been blessed to be around great players and great people. And that's why he's still coaching to this day.
Chatting with Michael Vick, the former 4-time Pro Bowl quarterback and Newport News native, here on High School Sports Talk, presented by VirginiaPreps.com on ESPN Radio 94.1. Michael threw for 4,800-plus yards and 43 touchdowns under Tommy Raymond, along with over 1,000 yards rushing, starring at Ferguson and Warwick High School, here on ESPN Radio 94.1, chatting about the newly renovated teen center at the Boys and Girls Club of the Peninsula, where he donated televisions, Xbox, boards, games, and so much more for the teenagers to use. And Michael, now that you're done playing the sport that you dazzled in at the highest level. How often do you reminisce back to those early high school days where really, I think in that 90s frame where yourself and Ronald Curry and some others, there were just so many talented players over on the Peninsula. How much do you reminisce about those days and what comes to mind for you?
Reminisce a little bit. Occasionally I might catch a game on like one of the local channels that they air from those times. But you know, that time in my life is what made me who I was. I was just recollecting on how I became, how I started wearing the number 7. You know, how that came about and how, you know, when I put that jersey on, that number 7 on my jersey in high school, when I put that jersey on my back, how I became a different player, how I felt different. So, yeah, those times were great, man. It taught me how to be a competitor. Going against Ronald Curry, you know, year after year and, you know, trying to chase him and pattern my game after his and learning from him. You know, just good times, man. So when I think back on it, you know, I try to share those experiences with other high school players on what it was like for me and what I did. And, you know, it wasn't a crazy regimen, but it was enough to get me through.
Michael, tell us about why number 7.
I don't know why. You know, I was having some bad practices. I was wearing number 1 for about 3 weeks once I switched from Warwick to Ferguson. From Ferguson to Warwick, excuse me. Wearing number 1, I felt like I was going to look like Ronald Curry out there. I looked at one of my best friends, and he was wearing number 7. His name was Andre Harrison, playing receiver. And we switched jerseys, and I was just a different player. It was like I became dynamic. I became elusive. I became more confident. I believed in myself. It was something about looking down and just seeing that number on my jersey made me feel like, you know, I was John Elway and a combination of a bunch of other quarterbacks. So it was a really cool feeling, and couldn't have happened at a better time in my life. That was my junior year in high school.
Michael, take a high school football player out there, perhaps one that was at the Teen Center yesterday or will be at the Teen Center. Things are a bit different from when you were coming up with social media and technology now. Players film so readily available on Huddle. How would you tell them to handle the recruiting attention, A, and then B, the media attention? You're now a media personality out there. How would you tell them to handle those things going forward?
Yeah, well, times are different. You know, they're recruiting different these days. More access to the kids. They're more accessible. You know, you just got to find a way to balance it all out, which is not easy because it becomes overwhelming when you got letters coming from some of your favorite schools that you might have dreamed of, you know, playing for when you're young. And then, you know, when you look at it, you know, some of these scouts that are recruiting, they're ravenous. They put a lot of pressure on these kids to make decisions. And, you know, you got to take it all into account, you know, that, you know, some situations aren't the best situations, or some teams aren't the best. You got to go with what school fits you. And, you know, I'm so far removed from that, you know, day and time, but I hear about it. But it's pretty cool for the kid, man. It shouldn't be that much of a concern, and it shouldn't be that much of a burden, you know, when you're getting recruited by schools that want you to come and play for them and give you a free scholarship and a way to just continue your education and, you know, find the occupation. So, you know, I just express to them to enjoy it most of all.
Couple more minutes here with Michael Vick, the former Pro Bowl quarterback, on High School Sports Talk, presented by VirginiaPreps.com on ESPN Radio 94.1. The unveiling of the newly renovated Teen Center at the Boys and Girls Club of the Peninsula yesterday, bearing Michael Vick's name as we chat about Michael Vick, the player, and now moving forward. Mike, your legacy as a player, what do you think it is, and what do you want it to be now in your post-playing career?
Well, you know, my legacy is my legacy. Whatever I left behind, I left it all out in the field. I had fun playing. I enjoyed it. It was worth it. It was worth the sacrifice in my life. And, you know, now moving forward, I get a chance to talk football, and that's just as exciting. Wake up on Sundays in the same way, excited to go do my job and, you know, research it during the week. And, you know, so post-career, you know, I want to continue to keep this going and stay connected to football. And that's my life. That's what I've been involved in and why I changed it.
Michael, I got to ask you, I watched the NFL last year. quarterbacks were going down injured left and right, and some teams were signing guys that hadn't thrown a pass in 2-3 years. I got to ask you, did anybody call Mike Vick and say, hey, look, we can use you? And can Mike Vick go out there right now and do a job for an NFL team?
No, I'm removed from the game. I love watching it. Played 13 years. I enjoyed it. I think about going back to play. But that's just me as a competitor. You know, in my mind, mentally, you think you can do it, but you know, maybe you can, maybe you can't. But it's not something that I think about. You know, I love what I'm doing now. You know, I love being home with my family and, you know, being able to, you know, sit back and think about, you know, what might be next in my life. And I enjoy watching those young guys go out there and get it in on Sundays, man, because I live that life and I have fun with it. And, you know, now I get to root for them.
Okay, then as a coach, I got to ask you, you got a lot of knowledge. You've been through a lot, been very successful. And you even did a little bit of coaching. Maybe down the road, back into some coaching, whether it be high school, college, pro level, or would you rather just work with kids here and there?
I'd rather work with kids here and there. I might start my own quarterback academy, something that's going to be special. I do have plans down the road, but I can't unveil that. Can't reveal it. I think, you know, I just, you know, live in the moment, enjoy what's in front of me now, and, you know, still going to coach quarterbacks, you know, periodically.
Well, I know one thing. Tommy Raymond calls you. He wouldn't mind having you as a quarterback coach for him on that sideline. Instead of under him, you'd be with him.
Yeah, you know, if he needs some help, I'd be more than glad to help him out. I do it anyway.
Well, Michael, thank you so much for the time this morning, and congrats on the newly renovated teen center bearing your name. I know that means a whole lot to you, and great to see you give back to the community. Thank you so much. Keep in touch, and we'll talk to you soon, all right?
All right, man. Y'all be good.
Thanks, Michael. Good luck to you.
Michael Vick, the Newport News native and former 4-time Pro Bowl quarterback, our guest here on High School Sports Talk, presented by VirginiaPreps.com on ESPN Radio 94.1. Great to see him donating new televisions, board games, Xbox, and so much more at the new Michael Vick Teen Center in Newport News. And I think that's what makes Ed, the 757 area code, so fabulous to see all these pros, the unity, and just the giving back to the community as well. Really great to see them make a difference beyond their playing career as Michael's doing now.
I mean, Allen Iverson, Michael Vick up in the Peninsula, and there's many more. And, you know, guys down here that have done it on this end, too, on this side of the water. Just tremendous of them to do that, because that's the one thing I always like to see a pro guy do is come back to your hometown, not your college town necessarily, or the cities you played in, but to your hometown, where you grew up, and going back and giving those kids more hope that they someday they could be that next type of athlete.
So if you missed the Michael Vick interview, just turned in late. We'll have it up for you later on our podcast page on ESPNRadio941.com. Still coming up, we got Debbie White, her interview, and Danny Mitchell, the Hampton Crabbers, unblemished to our knowledge, and we'll see if that remains with fact or fiction. Hampton Roads' favorite game show. It's coming your way on ESPN Radio 94.1.